Hey crew, hope you're having a good day. Got a little Susan Bassey for you today. I'm not sure what she is exactly. First Amendment auditor, Karen, pain in the ass all around. Anyway, let's get into the video. It's pretty obnoxious. Enjoy. Well, that was just silly. Let's get to the video.
So are you
three restraining orders against me.
You threatened a registered nurse.
I didn't threaten anybody.
And me with dogs when we're trying to see public records.
I said my dogs can be uppity with people that are coming in my property.
Then when you're conducting private judging...
Have they bit you?
If you're not familiar with Miss Bassey, she absolutely hates private judges. Those are attorneys that are appointed to cover cases during a pandemic deal there. And, yeah, she hates them. She lost a bunch of cases in front of one, and she is not happy about it. She's totally batshit crazy. Anyway, she's at a private judge's house, an attorney, and she is on his property.
Have they attacked you?
When you're conducting private judging and noticing this as your address...
You are on my home. Leave my home.
Please call the police then. Because you have this noticed as a public courthouse.
Thank you.
This is what you noticed, sir. Not me. You put it in the public domain.
Miss Bassey, I would suggest privileged communication.
Oh, certainly. Your private judging records are not privileged, sir.
This is Susan Bassey. State and federal law is very clear about court proceedings. The public has a right to attend hearings and to see public records.
You're allowed to view public hearings, not private hearings. A lot of hearings are private. Juveniles, victims of crime, testifying, things like that. Some of those you are not allowed to view.
Even when those hearings are being conducted in a private residence or in a big fancy office building. California, over the last 20 years, has been privatizing the courts by allowing attorneys to act as judges with full power and immunity for private compensation.
So what's your point, Susan? Now you lost the case and now you hate all private judges and you're holding them accountable for something. Only you know what.
Hi. How are you? I'm looking for an employee of BJ Faden's office.
Okay, which employee?
Any?
For what is this?
Do you work here?
It depends. Who are you?
My name is Corrigan and I'm trying to access public records.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Depends.
Videotaping you and you're videotaping me waiting for public records related to private judging in the law offices of BJ Faden. Security?
I'm security here. What's going on?
Well, they are a public court judge.
Okay.
And
No, you're fine.
they're trying to not let us in to see the records. They have publicly noticed BJ Faden gets paid about, I have to look at each appointment order, but about $600 an hour to act as a public court judge.
Gotcha.
And he is required by law to allow us into that office to see the records.
So have you called the authorities if you're under the right to?
I don't need to, I have the law. And he signed up to be a judge and he took an oath saying that he would uphold the law.
Here's what I think's going on here. She's at the private judge who is just an attorney that was appointed as private judge. She's there to inspect his records because he was appointed as a public judge. And she wants to inspect whatever record she wants to inspect, whether they're his own private, personal client, confidential, correspondence and all that stuff. She thinks she should be able to view that. At least that's what I think she's trying to say. I don't know. She's very confused.
Okay.
And he's acting in these cases. He's also appointed in many cases to represent children as their minors counsel. And so we're waiting for the records that we have a right to access during business hours. So we're going to wait here and document how long it's taking us to get access to these records.
This is not the courthouse, by the way. This is the attorney's private office.
Did they call you about us?
Yeah, management called me.
What did they
So,
say?
They told me to come down here and see what was going on.
We're waiting
Now
for
that-
the records.
Now that I have the information, I'll go ask again what it is they want me to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. We can give you the law if you want to know it.
No, I'm sure you know more than me.
And they may be closed. Does it say 16th floor for James? Yep, there it is. Remember they have.
Hi, how are you? Good. Good. My name is Corrigan Wright. I'm here to access public documents related to notices sent for Catherine Gallagher.
We don't have any court stuff, would be at the courts.
No, that's not true. Are you Josephine?
Yeah.
I'm Susan Bassey.
I'm actually in a meeting. So
Okay, well, you actually keep ignoring me, and the records are supposed to be accessible.
I'm in a meeting.
Okay, well, so when are the records? Gonna wait till your meeting is over?
Court records can be accessed at the clerk of court's office at the courthouse, not at his private office. He doesn't carry the court cases around with him.
We'll let you know.
No, we'll wait. We'll wait. Okay, I'm Susan Bassey, and this is Corrigan, and we are looking for records that JAM has noticed is in this building. We've been through the civil court files and the family court files, and they all noticed that the records under 2.400 are supposed to be available for public access here. I've been asking for 2 years. I've emailed Catherine Gallagher. I've emailed Josephine Kerr. I've emailed the manager of JAMS in LA and Orange County and Irvine. And we're 2 years later, you guys are collecting PPP money and you are not making these records available. So we want to know when you're going to make the records available to the public that the law says you have to make available. So we're here for that
So why
again.
don't you have a seat? I'm gonna go ahead and give my legal counsel a call and have her have a conversation.
That's great. Those are noticed on the public court website that she is doing private judging in those family law cases. So that means under California Rules of Court 2.400, we can look at anything that she has related to those cases here. And I also want to see her notice.
Same way that she's reporting it.
Okay, you guys do know that when you obstruct public access to public records, that's a business practice and a policy.
Okay, I will go
Thank
ahead
you.
and look this up.
Ooh, she has my picture. It's not like it's not all over online.
As a registered nurse, we support transparency and high quality services that we provide to the public. I do not support jams. That woman just took my picture because I came in here asking to see public records.
Do you know her name?
No idea who that was.
Josephine Kerr.
Josephine Kerr.
She's the assistant for Catherine Gallagher.
She should have asked me to pull my mask down.
Well, apparently they don't like to have their picture taken. They make a big deal out of it like it's important, yet they take pictures, they go on private property, they go to office buildings and demand things that they can only get at the courthouse.
But she's gonna send that picture to all of her friends in jams and all of their other business associates so that when I walk into a jams building, they all know to go scurry, run, and hide and call general counsel. Like I'm harassing them because I'm here to access public records that they have. It's not against the law, it's actually the right of the public to govern government business. So I'm not understanding why they're acting like this.
We'll get back to you.
Yeah.
So you understand we have a right to be here and we have a right to ask for the records.
Yes.
You don't have a right not to give us those records.
Correct. We will get back to you.
You don't have a right to do that. You have a
Okay.
right during business hours to give us the records.
We hear you.
They're not gonna produce the records.
I understand that.
Okay,
And
we hear
Just
you.
because you say you're not gonna do it doesn't make it right or legal.
I guess you better file another one of your hundreds of lawsuits that gets rejected and wait till they reject you and do it all over again. You could try that.
We heard you.
I'm glad. Because you don't seem like you've been hearing me. I've been asking for 3 years.
I can hear you.
Okay, well, your manager and your legal counsel don't appear to be hearing us. So we're gonna get a little louder, and you guys are gonna be the face of us getting louder. That's your employer. That's what your employer is asking you to do. They're not coming out here. The lawyers, the judges, the private judges, the arbitrators, they're not coming out here. They're making you guys do their dirty work.
Do you know that you have judges working here that are taking people's homes,
So let me know if you
their
need-
children, all of their money, everything that they have behind these doors? Do you know that?
That's paying your salary.
None of which is illegal or against your rights or anything like that. Just blah, 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 blah. You're totally freaking batshit crazy.
Literally the most horrific orders that I have ever read or seen in my life have come out of this office.
Pray tell, how did you read orders coming out of that office when they won't give you so you state any of the documents? So where did you read this?
You would never ever want to use a private judge unless you knew one. Because that's
And
the
knew
only
that
way-
they were gonna follow the law, including giving access to the public. We don't have a lot of rights, but we have a right to see those records. And we're not being allowed to see those records. Asking in 2019, 2020, 2021, and now 2022. It says during normal business hours, we've been asking for 3 years. JAMS has made a fortune and collected federal money during that time.
And when a private judge, such as James Cox, notices on the State Bar website and their private judging list that the address where you can get records and have access to open proceedings is a P.O. box, there's something that just doesn't add up when we go to investigate those issues. Private judging. And we've been finding that attorneys acting as judges with the full immunity and power of a public court judge are using P.O. boxes or their home addresses to be private judges. And yet then when we try to go and access records that they're legally required to give us, they claim that we're on private property.
Another little fun fact, private homes are private property. Didn't know if you realize that, Susan. You seem to know everything about everything else, but you don't know that somebody's home is private property, not open to you.
And they put up signs that say no parking, private property. They aren't home and they've disconnected their cell phone numbers, making it impossible to see public records. This is Cheryl Cassidy's house. None of Cheryl Cassidy's cases were posted on the list. They were kept in secret. And then in 2021, Santa Clara courts that were largely closed to the public during the pandemic began to post the private judge list. And the name, address, and phone number of Cheryl Cassidy was listed for the public to access her records and her court proceedings, where she is privately paid to be a public court judge. Let me show you what access to her court proceedings and records actually looks like.
I'm uncomfortable with someone filming me right now.
Is Miss Cassidy home?
She is not.
She is not?
These two women here have more restraining orders against them by attorneys and private judges for trespassing on private property than anybody I've ever heard of. It's ridiculous. They're very delusional.
Thank you. Now,
Do you remember?
my dogs are here. They can get violent.
Oh, are you
So-
threatening me, Mr. Roja?
You're on my property. Leave my
noticed.
property. Thank
It's-
you. Come on,
It's
girls.
noticed.
So
Go, girls.
do you have copies of the public records?
I work for ADR Services. You know that.
Are you an employee of ADR Services?
I am a independent contractor. Thank you. I get a 1099.
Where
Thank
are
you
your
very much.
records under 2.400 for the cases
I'll
where...
have to look. Thank you. Come on. Let's go, girls.
He works for ADR Services.
Call the police. You're
Please
on my
do.
property.
Please call them. Please
Come on.
call them. You
Go.
gave Sharon Roper this address as your public
Oh,
courthouse.
maybe she's wrong.
Well,
Come on, girl.
we can do a public records request
Well,
for
do
what
whatever
you
you
gave her.
want. But get off my property. This is my home.
Are you-
My wife has a disability. Okay, you're over here. You're going to be disturbing her. You're over here. I'm a 75-year-old man with a heart pacemaker. You're at my personal residence. I've asked you to leave. You won't. I work with ADR Services. That's where all of my cases are. So I'd appreciate it if you would leave my property. Thank you.
As a nurse, I'm trained to interact with people in a certain way. There's standards of how you respond to people that are asking you for help. And I wasn't treated kindly or justly or fairly or with any level of concern at all today. And I'm getting the door shut in my face. I'm getting threatened that I'm going to be attacked by a dog. I'm getting yelled at. I'm getting completely denied and blocked access. I'm having people that work within this system treat me like I'm the one that's doing something wrong.
I'll tell you what, I don't know what this woman's deal is. I know Susan had a bad divorce. That's why she's so pissed off at private judges. It has something to do with a bad divorce she was in, where she lost everything. At least that's the way I remember it. I could be off on that. But anyways, yeah, come to my house and refuse to leave after I've asked you several times. And you wouldn't end up in such good shape as you are right now. So you need to shut your face. You need to mind your own business and stay away from people's homes. And the guy never sicked his dogs on you. He said his dogs got rambunctious with strangers in his yard, which dogs do. What an idiot. And then they want to whine and cry and bitch about how people treat them. You want respect, you give respect. That's how it works, ladies. I don't know. You probably don't function too well in the real world from observing your behavior today. Anyway, I don't like doing videos on her because she's so annoying. Have a nice day. Bye.